Hello, ladies and gents. So, today's episode is the side effects of abuse. When a person is abused, whether sexually, physically, or emotionally, the residual emotions from the event will affect one's life, particularly if the victim was a child when the abuse took place. When a person is abused at a young age, it affects their development, socially and personally. As a child grows, shame is a common feeling, especially among boys. When a young boy speaks out about what happened, the common responses he receives are as follows. Man up! Don't act like such a bitch. What? You didn't like it? You faggot. I wish I was you. What are you complaining about? Never mind, the boy feels used and unloved. I personally understand feeling shame for being a victim after being molested by my older half-brother. I felt I could not tell anyone. My mother knew what was happening, and I suspect that my father did too. There were a couple of times that I had tried to bring it to my mother's attention, but as soon as the conversation started, before I could, say what happened, she would tell me if I ever said the wrong thing to anyone, CPS would come and take me and my little brothers away to foster care, where we would get beaten and raped. She said if I ever said the wrong thing and we would taken, it would be all my fault, that I would have no one to blame but myself. I felt ashamed of my abuse, as if somehow I was the one who caused it to happen, that somehow my victimization had put my family at risk. I can only imagine what she told my little brother DJ about his abuse, his experience. I hated myself, but never truly understood why. When I hit puberty, my mother frequently told me I was a whore, which only reinforced my shame and self-hatred. It took me years to get past these negative side effects, and I still have some healing to do. Most of the time, the shaming of the victim occurs from the abuser to project their own wrongdoings onto their target. For boys, the shaming is on a much grander scale, because society overall refuses to acknowledge the abuse of men and boys. Shaming is the abuser's greatest weapon to avoid blame, and when it comes to men and boys, it's socially reinforced. Men and boys of the world, you can overcome these feelings, because it is not you who should be ashamed. And this goes for all victims of abuse, young, old, men, women, etc. You did not have a choice. You were targeted. You were abused. But it was never your fault. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just another abuser trying to protect their own twisted interests. Another feeling that is common among abuse victims is fear. Even when they are away from their abusers, they become withdrawn from society, with few friends to rely on, because trust in humanity has wavered. A trend that I have noticed is when a woman is abused by a male, she then fears the entire gender, and becomes susceptible to destructive feminist ideologues. When a man is abused by a woman, they then distrust the female gender, and are more likely to become MGTOW to avoid destructive women like the one that hurt them. This is not always the case, but it does seem to be a common theme. I believe it's unhealthy to treat an entire gender criminally based on the actions of a few. Of course, in today's world, we must be cautious of all we meet, which is why it is extremely important to look for the warning signs of a destructive personality. Not all abusers show the same traits or display the actions to the same extent. The more warning signs present, the greater chance of violence. Some abusers may only have a few of the traits that can be exaggerated in nature. Often abusers will excuse their actions by stating they only did it out of concern for their victim. Over time, the behaviors will become much more severe and serve to dominate, control, and manipulate the victim. If you are friends with, or dating someone, or just know someone who appears to have some of these symptoms, keep your eyes open. 1. Jealousy. The abuser will be jealous of the time that you spend with friends, family, and or hobbies. They will accuse you of flirting or cheating, and as the relationship progresses, stalking is common. 2. Control. The abuser will claim concern for your safety or emotional/mental health. They will attempt to control your spending habits with your own money. They'll control your schedule, where you go and when you go there, who you talk to, what you wear, etc. 3. Projecting. If the abuser is in a negative situation or problem that they will claim that the victim should be held responsible, even if the issue is one that they created. If they feel shame or self-hatred, they will project those feelings onto their victim, because they just can't face it themselves, so it's easier to blame someone else. 4. Highly emotional. Most abusers have low self-esteem and are therefore easily insulted or upset. They will act like they are being personally attacked over actions or words that had nothing to do with them. 5. Cruelty. Due to the abuser's low self-esteem, they search for ways to be in control, even to the point of abusing children and animals to feed their sick egomania. 6. Forceful sex. Abusers feed their need to control sexually by fantasizing or even committing rape. They expect sex when they demand it, with no concern whatsoever for their victim's physical, emotional, or mental status. Just goes into that whole control thing again. 7. Gender roles. Abusers often believe in rigid gender roles. Male abusers often expect the female to serve and obey, viewing them less as people and more as property. Female abusers expect the male to provide entirely, accept all responsibilities, and attack him, claiming he's not a real man if he shows weakness or emotional distress. The female abuser wants their victim to be like a robotic slave. They want someone who's easily malleable, someone who they can easily control. 8. Verbal abuse. Abusers will spout degrading remarks and act as if your accomplishments are worthless. They will often state how ugly, stupid, and pathetic you are, claiming you would be nothing without them. They may start waking you up at night or keeping you up all night to continue harassing you, to continue a fight that you didn't want to have in the first place. They will even go so far as following you to public places, causing a scene. 9. Split personality. Abusers will portray themselves as angels, but can snap into a devil at any moment. One moment kind, the next demonic. They start off rather sweet in the beginning, but as the relationship progresses, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde complex becomes much more profound. 10. Abusers have a history. They have abused others before, whether it was a small animal or just other people trapped in the same position. You're just the newest notch in their belt. 11. Substance abuse. Abusers commonly have addictions of some kind, drugs, alcohol, etc. Their addictions often will make their behaviors much more aggressive and detrimental. 12. Destruction of property. If they know that you love an item, they will steal, destroy, or throw it away in an attempt to hurt you. Normally this behavior comes as a punishment for something that they believed you did that was wrong, whether that was you asking them why they're so angry or upset, or for a delusional crime that they came up with that you never committed. 13. Forceful argument. Any form of force used during an argument can be a sign that physical violence is a possibility. Forms of force can include pushing, physically restraining you from leaving the premises, pinning you against the wall and screaming in your face. And, you know, when I speak of force, I do mean force that was put upon the victim without them physically provoking the abuser. These are not all the symptoms to look out for, but I do believe that this is, you know, a decent list of the most common traits found among abusers. I hope this was informative, and I hope that this video will help others to understand abuse a bit better. So, there you go. That's my video, guys. Try and have more for you later. Peace.